Hey, there's no shame in trying things that people ain't never tried before.
How many friends do you have? How much time do you spend with them? And what do you do when you're spending time with them? What do you all do together? Well, when I was growing up, nothing I did with friends was productive. Nothing I do with friends today is productive. And based on people I've met in the last few years, it seems everyone's time spent with friends is rarely, if ever, productive. It's just a sinking pit of dead time and fun. And before you get up your pitchforks and call me a cynical asshole, I understand the point of friends and fun, and I understand the need for friends and fun. In fact, that's why these videos are so popular. These funny men who get together and go on adventures and simulate friends, or better friends. But I'm not here to give you a citation on the Funny Boy cruise or tell you about your life. I'm here to talk about friends, relationships, responsibilities, and productivity. Mine specifically. I can't tell you about everybody. But maybe we can spread the principles I've found in my friends across to you guys like butter on bread or your ass cheeks before I penetrate you. You may have heard me make jokes about having no friends, and that is true. But in the last 2 months, I've had the pleasure of spending time with 2 of my old pals, once apiece. We'll start with Blue Friend because he's the friend I spent time with most recently. And we'll separate them by color because what better way to separate... what better way to separate people than by color? So let me give you the context of the hangout sesh, because you know how much your boy just loves context and how it fleshes out a story. So there I was, off work and working on a video about gaming shit for my wonderful subscribers, when Blue Friend hits me up on the old cellular and says, "Skimmerlit, I got one of my buddies with me. Why don't you, me, and him go out for a night on the town, have a good old time, just the boys?" Well, to be honest, I kinda wanted to say no at first because, number one, there's nothing, and I mean nothing, fun or interesting to do in this area other than wandering around supermarkets. Number two, and most importantly, I had a lot of work to get done, and I only really get editing done in spurts of bursting creativity, one of which was spurting out of me right then. I didn't want to waste that. Because we do this shit more than weekly, baby, and I gotta keep good on that promise to you, the subscribers. Number three, I don't know the other guy very well, but what I do know of him makes me not want to know him. And number four, and this one's kind of the kicker with number two, the only reason we were talking at all was because he was back in town for the summer. Any friendship we form will be seasonal, situational, and fair weather, which is business as usual, but once you become aware of these things, they weigh on you, especially when you're diving into that shit pond, knowingly. But not to be a cynical shut-in shit, I said, yeah, man, bring on the fun, son. So for about 3 hours we meandered around and wandered through a Walmart. And then we came back, and that was it. And I was down a couple gallons of gas and $10. I wouldn't have minded that if anything of weight had been discussed, but the entire time, all they talked about was sex. What they liked, what they didn't like, and how to get more of it. None of which interested me, but my disinterest was exacerbated and became frustration when their degenerate bullshit got in the way of actual conversation, because Blue Friend is actually Black Friend, but he's full-blooded black, so that makes his opinion very valid, and I wanted to hear what he had to say about white privilege because that came up. And the potential for good conversation was there, because he's a very opinionated guy who mixes fact and fiction to found his beliefs, and it's fun finding out what facts he uses and what fiction he uses to found those beliefs. Because he is an Afram racial purist, but he's against Black Lives Matter. He's a conservative, but he has many odd, contrary labor leanings. He is a confused puzzle of conflicting ideas with moments of pure clarity and outside perspective. And I love finding that outside perspective because it's perspective I don't have. And when it's right, when it's true, when evidence is backing it, it's very helpful and insightful. And to have that potential for growth swept under the rug, brushed aside because, ooh dude, look, I got nudes. It's frustrating. More so, albeit somber, draining. It is draining to hear about in passing. It is more draining to watch, seeing that potential drip away. It is the most draining to participate in. Not only watching their potential get pissed away, but also your own. You are here participating in this garbage knowingly. I am knowingly wasting my money on nothing. Money that could be spent on food or equipment. I am knowingly wasting my time, which is more valuable. Time that could be spent working for money, or working on videos for you. Anything more productive than this hedonistic shit, wasting money and time on nothing. But you've heard enough about Blue Friend and our misadventures with other guy to Walmart. Now let's look at Red Friend. Red Friend is a character, and much closer to me in personality than Blue Friend. And much like me, he appreciates value, but in an amoral, cutthroat Soros sort of way, which I'm beginning to appreciate more and more, but also which made our hangout session kinda weird, or at least surreal. Because he won't lift a finger, not just to help, but to do anything, even fun activities, unless there is value involved. And by value, I mean anything which directly benefits him, from financial gain to stimulation. And that's understandable, but there is no give with his take. For example, if Blue Friend asked him to go have some fun, he would have said no. And understandably so, knowing the context and knowing that he would be put behind from going out to have fun. And this is where things may get muddy, because if you're paying attention, you may realize a lot of what I'm saying sounds like what he's saying, what he does. And that's true, that is very true, but I didn't always think like that, I didn't always act like this. I used to be the kind of guy who would put any personal project down to help his friends or to have fun with them, because I believed in investing in people. But now I am more in line with Red Friend's pursuit of value. And that's what made this session, this Budfest, so strange. Because we both knew we wouldn't be hanging out unless it was convenient and beneficial. We were both in the same area, we both wanted to see the same movie, and we both shared a very select brand of shitty humor we could use to tear apart that movie and enjoy it far more than if we had just watched it on our own. And on top of that, it was a great opportunity to spend more time with his roommates, with whom, oh yeah, baby, that was badass. I almost had to, and may have to, move in with, which he was particularly keen on because he would be paying 50% less rent. So I kinda needed to keep up a good impression for both of our sakes, and this contributed to that. So the whole night was just odd, top to bottom. Before they get there, the roommates, you see these two guys just shooting the breeze, having a good time, throwing some jokes and memes at each other. talking about the latest games and developments in their lives, and then the other guys show up, and there's an even bigger group, and they're all just shooting the breeze, having a even greater time, and then they watch a movie and have a phenomenal time. It's a horror movie, they take the piss out of it, it's wonderful. And on the surface, it all looks really good, but deep down, it was barren. None of us were there to really hang out because we enjoyed each other's company. We were there to keep up appearances. And I broke that appearance, our appearances, when I handed them gift cards forwardly to curry favor, buying friends, as it were. And then the movie ended, and then the night ended, and I was out $30 worth of gift cards and $10 or $12 for a movie ticket, plus gas, and an entire wasted afternoon. So, it didn't leave me feeling very good, overall. And you may be sitting in your seats going, Skimmerlit, that doesn't make him a bad guy. That doesn't make friendships worthless. I mean, go have some fun with him right now, just purely for the fun of it. And that's where you're wrong, Jimmy, because when things started looking good on my end, when that 50% less rent ticket retracted, so did the friendship, which wasn't very fun, and we haven't talked since then. But before we go any further, and before we make any final points, I need to drive home. I don't think either of them, or any friends who are like this, do it consciously. Are consciously this way. Or at least I like to think so. Now we're ready for conclusions, boys. Red friend and blue friend, and all the friends I've had in my life going back to even when I was a young kiddo, parenthesis, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't thinking anything, so it wasn't as immediately apparent, parenthesis, have been worthless, or at least a drain on resources, value, and them feels, my guy. These friends are games. They are grinds like Warframe and Grand Theft Auto Online. Pits, pointless pursuits which will get you nowhere and, worse, put you behind. And I can hear you saying to me, Skimmerlit, not all friends are like that. There are some friends out there who are good for growth and debate and balancing your views. And I completely agree with you. If you were following along as I was explaining Red Friend and Blue Friend generally, you may have picked up that Red Friend and Blue Friend both were good for debate. Grand conversation partners, but only occasionally, only when it suited them, and that's how people work. They are X when it suits them to be X. So why not just leave that debate, that conversation, that growth to open forums, online or in person, for people who want to be X, X being stimulated and debated, ooh, that sounds like a fun evening, right now. Because when your friends aren't feeling it, you aren't getting it, and they become sinks once more. But I may be completely wrong. Right here, right now, in this frame, this is all what I believe, based on my experiences and my logic. Maybe in your frame, following your path through life, friends are more valuable than productivity and your resources. Reality is objective, but experience is subjective. I don't know you, and I'm not I'm not qualified to tell you about yourself, and I don't want to tell you about yourself. But what I can do is give you a different perspective, my perspective. And whether you agree or disagree, at the very least you could possibly extract something that would help you in the future from it. Whether or not your friends are worthwhile investments is up to you to decide, baby boy. But for me, I'm somewhere between a light no to a light maybe, as much as it sucks to say it. As much as I love spending to sit around with my dick in my hands for hours and get jerked around emotionally, I value myself, my work, my time, my subscribers, and my goals more than I value sullen wandering and stressed, forced, anxious meetups where it feels like everyone's wearing a mask and you're not supposed to be there and you're just trying to get out. Which is actually the name of the movie we watched! Ha ha! Ah, I fit the joke in there. Oh man, I'm clever. Kill me, I'm lonely. And that about wraps it up, everybody. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit more than weekly. And comment your thoughts, because I'd love to hear from you. Realistically, I don't think friends, real friends, can exist unless there is a threat or a goal you and your buddies can work toward to overcome. But I'd like to know what you think of friendship, what you and your friends are like, and how you feel about them. Are you okay with putting your work aside to spend time with friends? And tell me about some times you've been burned, maybe. And thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. And I look forward to having you in the future. Or should I say, I look forward to doing this with you guys again sometime. Or sometime soon, something like that. I remember using that as my final outro a couple of times, but I've been using I look forward to having you in the future as my outro, but I kinda like that I look forward to doing this with you guys again sometime. That's the real question. I don't give a shit about what you think about your friends. I want to know what I need to do for my outro, so let me hear about that in the comments too, baby boy.